Hi guys, I'm Rodrigo. I will be presenting the session of how to report. In this case, we will be seeing that there is many information that you should be included in your report as financiers. In this session, we will clarify the most important information that you shouldn't be skipping during your reports, and also we will be checking the frequency in which the different types of reports should be generated and be presented to specific groups. These are the substandards that reporting has. If you haven't seen, I highly recommend you to check the information of the finance standard session so you can know exactly what we are talking under this session. So in this case, we are going to skip the substandards that are made specifically for the LCs. In this case, because the MC should guarantee and supervise that these standards are done properly, and mostly because they are substandards are very similar to the substandards that the MC should cover. So you can take this session and adapt it to an LC level. So you can include it in your NEC and you can have a reporting session so you can be accountable of your own reporting in your own entity. With the substandards of how to submit GFB report and how to storage the reports, these are going to be covered in other sessions for reporting, so you can check it on the MCVP's Academy. So, starting by the biweekly report, the MC budget, execution, and variance should be reported to the MC. In this case, we have to remember that the budget is a prediction of what is desired to obtain during your term. This may vary at the moment that you are executing your budget, so changes may present during each month of operations. These changes should be discussed and presented to your MC at least every 2 weeks, so everyone can know which is the goal everyone is heading to. This because if you have to remember is that if you change something on your budget, this may change the goal of your operations. So to avoid any miscommunication, you have to constantly be reporting any changes that you are making to the budget. Or if the budget needs to be changed, you need to start having synergies and talks with your operation areas so you can see how the goals needs to be also changed. To present these reports, you can use the the MC budget tool that has the profit and loss forecast tab. In this case, this tab will show you how the money or how your assets are moving during the time, and you can start modifying the percentage of incomes that you're receiving and the outflows that you are generating, so you can know more. You can know a prediction of how the entity um, will work in different scenarios. So in this case, my best advice will not just to present the tool, but to take the most important information from your tool and shape it so everyone can understand it. You can also check the first session, the introduction session, so you can know tips on how to improve your reporting. This report may be done at the middle of the month. So if any changes needs to be done during the month, they are made before it is too late to make any change in the current month. So you should make it at the middle, and you can make the second report at the end of the month, so you can start the next month with any other change that may be done because of the performance of the previous month. So in this case, the you just have to be constantly checking your budget and making the changes that are needed so you can uh, get to the final goal of your budget as a whole. Then we have the monthly report. In this case, the substandard says that the MC is required to generate the trial balance, profit and loss statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement on a monthly basis, and on a year-to-date basis on a set date after the month. These statements should be generated using the account software. So in this case, the information generated by your account software should match with the information of your budget tool. So you have two tools that you can use in order to report. In this case, this is a screenshot of QuickBooks, so you can use either the tables of QuickBooks or you can use the tables and graph of the budget tool, so you can present the financial statements. In this case, for this report, you may avoid just presenting the finance statement sheet, since most of the time they are hard to understand if you don't know where to look at. Remember that not everyone has seen a financial statement before, so you need to take the most important information and present it as simple as possible so people can understand what you are trying to present. In this case, you may divide the information per areas, so each area can see the financial contribution that they are making to the entity. For example, in this case, you may divide it by GV, GT, by IWA, so you can differentiate which areas are more profitable and which areas are making the most costless. You can also use the budget tool in order to verify this, since the budget tool already divide the costs and incomes per areas. If you want more information about the financial statements and how they work and for what they are and why they are generated, you can also check the financial statement education that is also on the MCVP's Academy. In this case, we have also a quarterly report. In this case, the substandard says that the MC budget execution should be reported to the LCPs at least on a quarterly basis in order for the national plenary to understand the current status of execution and accountable and transparent to the plenary, and to be accountable and transparent to the plenary. In this case, as you do with the biweekly reports on the budget's execution, you can make a consolidation of the past 3 months and present it to the plenary for accountability. In this case, I recommend to use the same template that you use in order to report bi-weekly, in order to make a consolidate of the quarter report. In this case, you can also separate it by areas, so you can have a more specific information and not just present the information as the entity as a whole, but to divide it by areas, so you can know exactly more information on where are the gaps and which areas are providing more. This is an example, a simple example of an overall budget execution of OGT. If you see, it is just an profit and loss example of incomes of a budget execution example. In this case, is incomes plan, incomes executed, expense plans, expenses executed, and percentage of the execution. Remember that you should make the report understandable for anyone. So you may find it easy just to make a template and prepare this template, so anyone that enters to the entity can know what you're trying to express or say with the numbers. After that, we have the annual report. Remember that the MC and LC financial statement, the profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow should be generated on a year to date. So the annual report is a review of all your term. The financial statements should be generated for the end of your term with your accounting software and be presented as a final report. Your accountant can also present the financial statements. In this case, I may suggest you to solve any doubt that you have with the financial statements with your accountant before presenting the statements to your plenary. As they are generated and presented monthly, follow the same structure for your final report and take them take more time to focus on conclusions that you may take for the result of it. For example, you may verify exactly which were the from where the incomes were coming, which are the costs that were the greatest one, the types of investments that you made and the results of the same, and which ones were more profitable and why, and the timeline of incomes for different areas. Taking into account that different areas have different timelines. In this case, remember that this report may be used to MC to MC transitions, to the transition for your successor, and as a resource to understand the financial state of your entity at the end of your period. So you may consider taking your time to make this report so you can see how the information to present the information in a proper way. This is an example. This picture is an example of a consolidated of profit and loss for an annual report. This is a very simplified report of the entity as a whole. If you see, it only presents the month, and in this case, it presents the inflows and outflows and the net results and the month of reserves, so everyone can see which were the months that generated the most incomes and which were the months that generated losses. Then you can specify more on why were the losses or why were this month more profitable than other ones, and which were the causes for these fluctuations. Also, on the annual report, you have to include the sustainability report. The entity, in this case, the standard says that the entity to report not only the financial status and sustainability, but also provide more holistic and integrated report on the actions towards sustainability, including but not limited to the environment. In this case, the Boston College Center of Corporate Citizenship state that the sustainability report is the disclosure and communication of environmental, social, and governance goals, as well as a company's progress towards them. The benefit of the sustainability report include improved the corporate reputation, building consumers' confidence, increase innovation, and even improvement of risk management. In this case, you may want to add any social project and campaigns that your entity was participating at and the impact it had, as well as the environmental on the previous programs your entity had in progress. In this case, you can also be more creative and check if any of the projects that for example, the Global Volunteer program of any EP that you send to specific ODS and how that the impact that they generated and how your entity was participated on it. And as a recap of this session, we divided the reports that you may be that you have to make bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. In this case, you will see that the bullets that are in bold, those are the mandatory things that you should be reporting in this frequency, and the rest are recommendations that you may include during this report. For example, the bi-weekly report is the MC budget execution, and variance should be reported to the MC. In this case, you should be reporting any changes that you are making to your budget, to your MC. This you have to remember that any changes to the budget may need a separated synergy with a specific area, since or with both areas, to change the goals, since you are changing the financial goals. In the monthly basis, you should be reporting the MC and LC financial statements, profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow. And this should be generated by the accounting system, and you should be reporting it. And you may include the finance standards, the month of reserves, change to the budget for the next month or quarter. And in this case, quarterly, you should be reporting the MC budget execution, and variance should be reported to the LCPs. And in this report to the LCPs, you may also include the financial standards of the entity as a whole, the months of reserves, and the change to the budget for the next quarter. In an annual basis, you should report the sustainability reporting that should be made at least annually, the MC and LC financial statements that you are making monthly. You should generate an annual report that includes the profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow. And you may be including also the finance standards of your whole entity, and the month of reserves that you're trespassing to the next generation of the MC. And this is this is the end of the session of how to report. In this case, I hope that you have this more clarified on the frequency and what exactly you need to be reporting on this frequency and how you should be reporting. In this case, if you have any doubts, you can always contact GFB for more information. And thanks for being here, and have a happy day. Bye-bye.